Wonderful. Let's talk. Today I want to talk to you about higher education. Whether or not we should really be pushing to send our children to college. And this is going to be kind of like, this is mostly my personal opinion. By all means, choose to ignore me. But let's talk this out a little bit. Let's go from my experience. Growing up in high school, I remember the last 2 years of school, 2 to 3 years of school, being this really, really big push to go to college. Like, we were passing our exit exams for school, and we were doing lots of ACT testing and applying for scholarships to get into school. Like, that was the goal. You need to go to college. And I remember stressing over writing these essays, and some children were just like cranking out essays to get scholarships, and I'm like, I don't like essays that much anyway. But there was just, I remember just this overwhelming pressure that right out of high school I needed to know what I wanted to do, and even if I didn't, I needed to go to school. I needed to be continuing in school. Like, you go from elementary, middle school, high school to college. Like, that is the train of education. That is what you're supposed to be doing, and then from college you go into being a real adult and you get a job. That is the formula for life, and there really wasn't much straying from that. Now, when I got to high school, you got to choose the type of diploma that you wanted to go with, whether you wanted to graduate like a regular student, whether you wanted to graduate with honors. You could pick the honors diploma. And then you also had the option of going to a trade school. Now, I think unintentionally we were kind of taught that the children that went to the trade school weren't, and this is very unintentionally because the people at our school were great, but just hear me out, weren't intelligent enough to go to college, or they weren't going to have enough money to go to college. Like, they weren't going to be the scholarship kids. Just college wasn't going to be for them. And it was like, if you can't go to college, or you don't think you're going to be able to pay for college, then maybe just go to trade school. And it was like the last option. We weren't really pushed trade school at all. It was, oh, if you can't go to college, then I guess you can do this. And I think that that wasn't fair. In fact, I wish that it had been pushed harder, because I cannot tell you the amount of adults that I know who have a degree in something and aren't working in it, have a degree that they thought out of high school was going to be great, only to find out that they kind of hate it. Somebody like me, I went to school for a year, realized I suck at this, but I had never even thought of any other option for college, because even college wasn't explained very well. It was just that you need to go. I didn't realize that there were just there thousands of avenues to go to college for, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's go back to trade school. The trade school in our community offered welding, electrical classes, like how to wire a house, motor and automotive, cosmetology, and carpentry. I'm sure there's a few more, but I do remember those. And then, like, I want to say sewing, like seamstress, like home ec type things. And I really, really wish that that had been pushed harder for us, because just in our little town, there was several major manufacturers in our little town. And what we didn't realize at the time was that the children that were going to trade school to learn how to weld were going to get out of high school. Like, when you went to trade school, you could get a job, an apprenticeship, basically, a paid apprenticeship, if that makes any sense, like an internship, working in that field. Now, we had several, like, major, like, automotive, military businesses in our town, and if you knew how to weld, you could start working at like $12 an hour as a high schooler. you could start making $12 an hour. And then once you graduated, you could start at like the base pay of everyone else. Didn't register to anybody to teach the children that go ahead and get this skill, get these skills down, land a job, we're helping you get into the workforce, and then take classes as you will, like you have forever, like you have 4 years just like everybody else, or then we found out later we have our whole life to take classes just like everybody else, but you actually have a job. You have a skill set that falls outside of a diploma. You can get a diploma if you want to, but you have a job pretty much guaranteed. And nobody taught us that. Cosmetology, that's something that they could get a license in and do out of their home. Or how many cities have seats available in salons and barbershops that they would have had skills to go into, get a job, and then take night classes, get your basics out of the way, and then while you're making this money, like, you can explore whatever career you want at your own pace without that intense pressure. So you had welding, you had carpentry. Who doesn't need an electrician? Why didn't we teach those kids, you can become an electrician? There's almost always someone needing an electrician. And then you can go to school for engineering if you want to. And you can pay for your own school if the scholarships aren't going to come in. I don't know why do we teach children that the best jobs are doctors and lawyers? I don't know. Psychiatrist, I don't know, something like that. And those are great jobs. But why don't we teach them that barbers are always needed, electricians are always needed, plumbers, carpenters, people who work with construction? Like, teach him woodworking and then let him go to school to become an architect. Like, he can build houses while he's learning to build skyscrapers. Like, let her go to school for cosmetology, and then she can go to school to become like a makeup artist on set. Like, they're building blocks. One is not better than the other, but one of them can definitely start your kid out with confidence and skills and a paycheck while they're earning like this degree to get a better paycheck. A lot of people have degrees and that better paycheck doesn't come because then we get out of school, we get into the workforce, and then all of the jobs say previous experience, prior experience, 3 years of secretarial work. I don't understand how people become secretaries, because you have to have worked as a secretary for 10 years to get an entry level, no experience, secretary job. But anyway, I think that I don't know, I don't have the word. I think we should teach our children to use their hands, like, work, get a job. Like, there are other ways. Higher education is fantastic, but I don't think it's fair to put so much pressure on a 17, 18-year-old to know what they're going to do with the rest of their life. If you have the unique teenager who says, I want to be an astronaut when they're 5, and like that is their life ambition and their goal, and then they work at NASA, that is fantastic. For the other 90% of us out there floating because we don't really know who we are until we're like 25, we could have used a trade. Like, I don't know, I'm 28 and I'm just now watching YouTube videos on learning how to sew. Now that's because I took the honors diploma in school and I had to circumvent home ec in order to get my honors diploma. And while everybody else was complaining about sewing pillows, I really, really wanted to know how. But I had to take music classes and then, what's the word I'm looking for? Higher level math, which I sucked at, but I needed that. I thought the honors diploma was going to get me further in life, and my diploma's got like an extra little sticker on it or something, but nobody cared about my honors diploma when I got my first job, or my second job. I had my first job in high school, but when I got all the jobs that I've had now, nobody cared about my honors diploma. What they would have liked, some of them, would have been if I had learned how to sew. I'm the type of person who, sitting in a class just isn't my thing. It's nerve-wracking to me. But I would have flourished in an apprenticeship if I had been able to, like, take classes at the trade school and then sit under a fashion designer. That sounds like, I don't know, like happy joy, sprinkles and rainbows to me now as an adult. But now I have 2 kids and I'm married and I don't have time to take an unpaid anything. So, I don't know. I want to encourage my girls to learn skills on top of learning books, like getting that other knowledge. If you have the opportunity to learn something when you're younger, take the opportunity to learn it. So that's kind of my spiel on, like, higher learning. Do I think we should send our kids to college? Yeah, if we can, but if if we can, and there's other options, there's other ways. It doesn't have to be straight out of high school. Like, we send, at least we were sent to school. I was sent to school with, like, this desperation, like this immense pressure that I was not going to succeed as an adult if I didn't go to college. I only did 1 year, and I have all the stuff that I wanted. Okay, I could use a little more money, but I mean, I have kids and a husband, and that was like my real life goal. I just wish that I'd known that you could be a fashion designer and get paid for it, to learn how to sew, something that I'd always wanted to learn how to do, that I could have done it. And I could have done it, started it in high school, gotten pretty good at it, did 4 or 5 years like studying under someone instead of like learning psychology in school, something I wasn't going to ever use, and retaking algebra in college because even though I took those higher math classes for my honors diploma, I ended up having to take like regular math in college because they're like, I don't know how you passed this, kid. But I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that kids should go to college straight out of high school? Do you think that's important? How can we teach them that life doesn't always work that way? Did you get the job that you were aiming for right out of college? Like, did you go from degree to working in your field? And if so, how did you do that? What field are you working in? Like, help the rest of us out. Because some of us either don't have a degree, aren't using the degree, don't have any skills to fall back on, and now we're kind of in the older range to be acquiring any skills, especially if we're looking for a job. I'm 28, and nobody's going to hire me to be a seamstress if I'm just now learning how to turn on my sewing machine. But if somebody had taught me at like 14, 15 how to sew, I might be on my way somewhere. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about. You talk back. Let me know. What do you think? College, no college, trade schools, whatever. That's all I got to talk about. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, suggest more topics, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye.